I didn't know it back then, but I was a revolutionary in the first grade. Never knew why, but sitting at the front of the class just seemed right. Now, this is before lessons on civil rights, Rosa Parks' plight. I'd sit right in front, right under the teacher's eye. No one could raise my hand high like the length of most of my friends' plaid uniform skirts. No one could tell me that the first row wasn't worth extra credit, 2 pizza parties and a Fraggle Rock t-shirt. By nature of my birth, I deserved it. Coming from 3 generations of young women not scared to get their learn on, I was told that no matter what, if you know the answer, you better put your blasted hand up. You better do what's right. You do what's right. Even if others do wrong, you always do right. You always do what's right. So today, I raise my hand to God, asking that He protect the people who call Him by another name than I do, but it's their God-given right to. I lift my hands for people who don't believe they were saved by the blood of Jesus Christ. I lift my hands to shield them from the conservative right, who left Bible texts of love for ones of righteous indignation, who would destroy the very fabric of our nation, all in the name of democracy, stole basic freedoms under the guise of homeland security. They label Islam as the antithesis of Christianity, but when we look at the Christians in America's bloody history, you couldn't stop the KKK from being in church on Sunday. Whites who swore they're saving Africans from themselves by making them slaves. Nuns who starved children in orphanages when they wouldn't behave. Rapists who the diocese never punished, they just rotate. Police who use murder charges, paid extended vacation. My people pay attention. How can you say it's a sin to be Muslim when it more seems like a sin to be Christian sometimes? Our soldiers turned Iraq into concentration camps. Hypocritical to preach freedom and justice when we only want it for us. This lust for blood is taking the dust of the dead and making mudstones to bash the skulls of every prayer and every Muslim believer in the red zone. They say they found 1,000-year-old slave bones beneath the remains of Ground Zero. Oh, the irony. This isn't about disrespect to the dead, because apparently no one thought that African cemetery was holy when they built on African lives and in their deaths created the epicenter of U.S. financial security. But now won't let a center for the community be constructed. Objectives construct lives by calling it a temple, and even if it was, the conclusion is simple. This is only the first example of the news distorting the truth. What's wrong with Islamic investors taking a building 5 years abandoned and unused and making 1 floor a trade school, 1 floor a gym, leaving 1 floor for prayer meetings, religious segregation, using the same excuse given to blacks when we fought for integration? You can do your own thing, just do it somewhere else. This is fighting for civil rights, fighting for the right to worship how and where you like, and if a brothel can exist on the next street, if the KKK have the freedom to meet on a main street in Brunswick, Georgia, the way they did last February, to preach about what they believe, I raise my Christian hand and join my Islamic friends in taking a stand. I write this because the front of the class doesn't need to be earned. Everyone should be given a seat. The Constitution gives us all the right to practice our beliefs freely and with dignity, not in closets or on designated streets, because if one isn't free, neither should we all be. Thank you. So how many of you guys actually know about the mosque that was being built by the World Trade Center? Yeah. I remember, you ever heard about it? It was a big political thing, and I'm from New York, as you all know. East Coast, East Side. And the interesting thing about that was, I looked at it from a different standpoint than a lot of people. I feel like the news is, especially Fox News, is the devil. And so, it really is. And I watched the way the story was skewed, and I watched on 9/11, the actual day that we would probably, talk about this would be a day of mourning in a sense, and watch them pick it. About, who says they should have the mosque, who says they shouldn't, when in actuality it's not actually a mosque. And in looking at the plans itself and stuff like that. But of course, the news don't always tell you the whole side of the story, so I admonish you all to be objective when you're listening to the news.